Yeah, John, since the last time I talked to you, we've had some scrimmages. We actually had an exhibition game against Drexel. So it has helped us kind of figure out who we are a little bit. Omari Spellman was injured a little bit in the preseason. Phil Booth was still coming back. We didn't know how effective they would be early, but we've been able to get them in there in scrimmages and games, and I think they've both answered some questions for us. Omari is enabling us to have an inside presence that we had with Daniel Chefu, and Phil Booth is back to his old form, so it gives us another experienced guard. And then you add Jalen Brunson and Mikhail Bridges. They've kind of been rocks for us. So those guys have looked good early and helped us kind of start to form our identity.
Obviously, every fan base in America is excited right now. From a head coaching perspective, what's opening week like?
It is exciting. It really is. There's an anticipation of the opening game, but there's also a really comfortable relief to settle in to the regular season. Preseason is always anxious. You got a lot of work you want to get done. You don't want to get guys hurt. Guys do get hurt, and then it changes your plans of how you wanted to practice. So there's a lot of things in preseason that create anxiety. I think players and coaches are a lot more comfortable when you get into that routine of game, couple practices, game. That's what makes us comfortable. That's what excites us. And college basketball season starting gets everybody fired up.
Going back to Phil Booth, one thing that you had talked about in the preseason was that he's ready to go, but you are wanting to know how he'll be the day after games and how he can handle that. How's he been?
Great. And that has really been what we've looked at. We had our first scrimmage of the year against Pitt. That was on a Saturday. So we were, he played well. That didn't really surprise us, but on Sunday he was in great shape, felt great, practiced Monday and Tuesday, and then we played Drexel on Wednesday. He was great on Thursday, practiced Friday, Saturday. We played Virginia on Sunday. He was great on Monday. So that's really what we wanted to see. We wanted, and it's why we set up those games that way. Same with Omari Spellman. And so that's what makes me feel good talking to you today, that we made it through that week and everybody seems to be really healthy. If they played well but didn't respond so well the next day, I would be a little bit more concerned and maybe not as optimistic as I talk to you now.
Coach, you know it. The Big East is loaded with familiar names, seniors that return and look to lead their programs even further. When you're preparing in the conference, which players come to mind that really impact the way you game plan for them?
Well, you definitely think of Blewett at Xavier and Delgado at Seton Hall. But, I think what makes the Big East unique is that there's a lot of very good teams that have veteran players. So in college basketball now, we don't seem to really promote veteran players as much as we promote the incoming freshmen. We get so excited about the new players, the new big recruits, but the teams over the length of the season that usually have the most success are the teams that have the great veteran players. And I think there's a lot of them in the Big East. I think Providence got a lot of great veteran players. Creighton's got a lot of good veteran players. I think St. John's guys are starting to get older and really are going to have a very good team. But I really look at Xavier, Providence, and Seton Hall as being the teams that are going to be rock solid because of veterans. And then you've got a lot of other teams that Butler and St. John's who have guys who have played before and are on the cusp, I think, of becoming very good. Marquette the same way, DePaul the same way. It's really what makes our league unique is that we always have teams with great veteran players, and we also have the teams with the exciting incoming freshmen.
Coach, the next month and a half or so is ironic in a way because starting at the end of December, you're going to be going up against these Big East coaches and you're going to battle against them. But the next month and a half, you're rooting for them. When a coach around the league gets a statement win, are you shooting him a text, or are what are you doing?
Definitely. We always shoot each other texts. We shoot text to the Big East office. We celebrate those wins. It reminds me of the Big East in the '80s when I was an assistant coach and we were coming up, and making our name, and we took great pride in Northeastern basketball. Now we still have that pride in Northeastern basketball, but we also have that pride in an all basketball conference, and we're kind of out there on an island by ourselves, where we're with the Big Five conferences, but yet we're not one of them. But we play at that level basketball wise. We're an all basketball conference, so we really take pride in that, and we just we don't profess to be better than anybody. We just profess to be authentic, unique, and if you're a basketball fan, and especially if you're from urban areas that love the game of basketball, this is your conference, because it's all year round. It's 365 days of basketball, and that's what all of our universities are about. That's what our programs are about, and that's what we think's really exciting about the Big East.
Coach, you're talking about text messages. What were they sending in the '80s?
You know what? I really remember seeing each other on the road. Back then, we could scout live, right? So all the assistants, we would be at each other's games. And when we would see each other, the guy that had a good win out of conference, we'd all dap him up and be fired up for him, because we probably weren't calling. Maybe the head coaches called each other back then, but I wasn't at that level.
You've got the Columbia Lions to open things up. What kind of challenges do they present in your opener?
A scary opener in that, one of the things that we're not really pleased with yet is we're not an efficient, fundamentally sound team yet. And when you play a team like Columbia that's very well coached, very disciplined, they execute extremely well. Those teams can get you early in the season because you might not be, you might be conditioned, you might still be developing your personnel, but you're not executing that well. That's what really concerns me about them. They can play zone, which you don't see. We're a man-to-man team. We don't see a lot of that in practice. So, do I need to let you know how concerned I am anymore? I got every worry in the book into this one.
You know what, Coach? Here's the thing. You're in your 17th year at Villanova, and Philadelphia is rocking right now. How about those Eagles? You're just going to carry the momentum that they have right into your season. Am I right?
Hey, man, Philadelphia is flying sky high right now. The Eagles have the city electric. The Sixers are just as exciting, and they're just starting it. I was at the Eagles game Sunday, and they showed Joel Embiid in the stands, and the place almost went as crazy for Joel Embiid as they did when Carson Wentz threw a touchdown pass. So the beauty of Philadelphia is we've got all this going on right now, and we're opening up with a Coaches versus Cancer luncheon, and people get just as excited about college basketball. I know I'm biased, but that's why I think it's the best sports town in the world.
Coach, it sounds like you just want to jump out on the court and play yourself on Friday. How's the jumper?
The jumper's gone. Now I can shoot free throws and what we call set lifts, technique shooting. It's about all I got left.
Coach Jay Wright, the Villanova Wildcats. Coach, good luck this season.
Thanks, John. Good talking to you, buddy.